Have you ever been on a quick holiday, maybe a work trip, only to return and find yourself accused of fraud by your own government? It sounds like a dystopian novel, but for tens of thousands of families across the UK, this has been their recent stressful reality. The UK's tax authority, HMRC, has just been forced into a major U-turn after a new anti-fraud crackdown went spectacularly wrong. They started cutting off child benefit payments to parents, flagging them as potential fraudsters living abroad. The problem: the entire system was based on incomplete and flawed travel data from the Home Office. In just a few weeks, a staggering 23,500 payments were suspended. We're talking about families who simply went on a weekend break, a holiday, or a work trip, and the system failed to register their return to the UK. Imagine the shock and panic, receiving a letter accusing you of living overseas when you've been home all along. The stories emerging are just unbelievable. One new mother received a letter demanding she explain a trip she took to Amsterdam for work, months before her baby was even conceived. The letter stated she'd traveled in June 2023 and never returned. Her baby was born in Belfast in October 2024 and has never left the city. She said, "Big Brother wants me to explain what I was doing before the baby even existed to claim child benefits." It's a level of bureaucratic absurdity that's hard to fathom. This whole mess started to unravel when an investigation by The Guardian and The Detail uncovered a specific issue in Northern Ireland. People who flew out of Belfast but returned via Dublin Airport were being flagged as having taken one-way flights out of the UK. Because of the common travel area, there are no routine immigration checks on the land border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland, so their return journey wasn't being logged by the UK Home Office. But it quickly became clear this wasn't just a Northern Ireland issue, it was happening all over the UK. We heard from a woman who went to France to bring home her late husband's body, a mother who took her autistic children on a day trip to Amsterdam just to get them comfortable with flying, people who took family holidays to Europe and even Australia. All of them had their vital child benefit payments cut off, plunging them into financial uncertainty and emotional distress. One of the most jaw-dropping cases involved a woman who checked in for a flight from Heathrow. The flight was cancelled, so she just went home. She never left the country. But because she checked in, the system flagged her as having left. When she tried to explain this to HMRC, providing evidence of the cancellation and proof her daughter was attending school in London, they didn't believe her. Instead, they sent a second letter demanding 3 months of bank statements from 2021 to prove she was living in London back then. The burden of proof was placed entirely on her to prove her innocence against a faulty computer system. Another woman, Agnieszka, a Polish-British dual national who has lived in Scotland for 20 years, had her payments stopped after a week's holiday. She flew to Warsaw and returned via Edinburgh, but the Home Office had no record of her return. She described the experience as incredibly stressful and upsetting. She said, "I have been living in Scotland for 20 years, paying my taxes regularly, and this is the place where I belong, and call this place my home. The letter makes me feel sad, unwelcome, and I feel like a victim of discrimination." When you hear stories like that, you realize this isn't just about a computer glitch. It's about the human cost of a poorly thought-out policy. For many families, child benefit is a crucial part of their monthly budget. Having it suddenly disappear, along with an accusation of fraud, is devastating. Facing a massive public backlash, HMRC has issued not one, but 2 apologies. They've now paused all suspensions and announced an urgent review. Their VA promised to start cross-checking the Home Office data with their own pay records to see if someone is still working and paying tax in the UK, a simple step that could have prevented this entire fiasco. They're also telling people who've received these letters to call a dedicated helpline. A special team has been set up to reinstate payments as quickly as possible, supposedly without making people answer a list of 73 questions first. That's right, 73 questions. That was the initial process for people trying to prove they weren't fraudsters. In their statement, HMRC said, "We're very sorry to those whose payments have been suspended incorrectly. We will no longer suspend any payments until we have checked with the recipient first, giving them a month to confirm if they are still eligible." It's a step in the right direction. But for the 23,500 families affected, the damage is already done. This has caused immense stress, financial hardship, and a deep sense of injustice. Paul Kohler, the MP for Wimbledon, has now gotten involved, writing to the government to express deep concern and seek assurances that citizens' rights will be protected, especially those in Northern Ireland who frequently use Dublin Airport. This situation raises some serious questions. How could a system with such obvious flaws be rolled out? Why wasn't there better communication between government departments? And most importantly, why was the default position to assume guilt and place the burden of proof on ordinary citizens who had done absolutely nothing wrong? It serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of relying on automated systems and incomplete data without proper human oversight, especially when people's livelihoods are at stake. While the apologies and policy change are welcome, the trust that has been broken will take a long time to repair. What do you think about this? Have you or anyone you know been affected? Let me know in the comments below. It's a shocking story, and it's important we keep the conversation going to ensure it never happens again. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into the stories that matter. See you next time.